Who are you, Esau? The Torah speaks a lot about Esau, but I'm going to tell you what's behind the scenes here, all right? Esau, you know, he was the son of Rebekah, twin brother of Jacob. But when Rebekah was pregnant, something very curious happened. She felt that her pregnancy was not normal. She felt something different in her belly, something that even a pregnant woman with twins didn't feel. Do you know what she did? The Torah tells us that she went to ask God, "What is happening? There's something very strange." What was so strange that she needed to ask God? What was happening was this: when Rebekah passed by a house of idolatry, the baby kicked, as if to say, "This is where I want to be, this is where I want to come out." However, when Rebekah passed by a house of studying about God, the same thing happened. He also kicked and said, "Well, here's where I want to be." At that moment, our matriarch asked what was going on. What kind of baby is this who plays on both teams? On the team of idolatry and on the team of monotheism, on God's side and on the opposing side. How can this be? So, at that moment she said, "I don't understand anything." And then she went to ask God. How did she ask God? It's true she was a prophetess. However, it is written that she went to ask the son of Noah. She went to ask Shem. What's going on? Because Noah's son, called Shem, was also a great sage, a prophet, and he had a house of study. So if I told you before that she passed by the house of study and this son kicked wanting to come out, then she went to ask him. The answer was clear. In fact, Rebekah, you don't have one son, you have two sons, and from your womb will come out two nations. But these nations will have something very curious. When one is up, the other must necessarily be down, and vice versa. In other words, there will be no harmony. It won't be something where both are on the same level walking together. Rebekah knew this. Something very curious. She didn't reveal this to her husband Isaac. And then when these children were born, the first to be born, the eldest indeed, was Esau. And why was he named this? His name comes from the Hebrew Asui. We say Esau. It doesn't have a meaning, but in Hebrew Esau comes from the word Asui. He came ready. He came as the Torah describes him, already full of hair, fur on his body, which was not normal, and hence his name. And from a young age, she noticed the difference between her firstborn Esau and Jacob, her younger son. Jacob is considered a pure, innocent man who is in the tent studying Torah. But Esau, what he's seeking is action. He's seeking adrenaline. He becomes a hunter. He goes out into the field. Look at something interesting. The Torah does not describe the relationship between Esau and Jacob with their parents. And look what's written, that Isaac he liked. Pay attention, it's written in the past tense. If you read it in Hebrew, in the original, it's written, he liked Esau, but there was a reason, because he had game in his mouth. Now, Rebekah, she loved Jacob. She likes Jacob in the present, and there's no cause at all. From here, we've already learned that the reason Isaac liked Esau so much is because there was something he did. And really see, although Esau, as we're going to talk about, became a very evil person in the continuation of his life, he did one commandment very well. What was it? To respect his father and mother. Not just his father, he respected his father and mother very much. So it's written that he brought this game, what he hunted, what he had for himself. He made sure to give to his father. However, deception also came with this, because the father would ask, "Where did you get, my son, such tasty meat, something so delicious?" And many times, Esau didn't have the patience to look for animals that didn't belong to anyone to hunt and claim for himself. He stole. So he not only stole from other people, the Midrash says he stole Isaac's conscience, his father's, because he lied to him and said, "No, father, I found it, God helped me." And the father said, "It's kind of strange, but he told me." So it says here, that's why it's written that he had game in his mouth. That's why he was loved. In other words, the game, an animal that is hunted, in other words. He was deceiving his father, so Esau deceived his father every day, despite deeply respecting him, but he didn't want to tell about his misdeeds. What misdeeds? So we're talking here there was already theft. Also, he's going to marry. He wants to show that he wants to marry like his father. His father Isaac married at 40, so when he turns 40 he'll also marry. The problem is that the wives he decides to marry are women who practice idolatry, even when they're in Isaac and Rebekah's house, to the point that they made incense for idolatry. Isaac, who had such a high level, when this idolatry smoke reached his eyes, it left him partially blind, as we know from the episode of the sale of the birthright. And here is something very important for us to understand. Once, when it was the day of the death of Esau and Jacob's grandfather, on that day, when Jacob prepared a stew of lentils for his father, because it's a morning food, Esau came and said, "My brother, I'm starving. Give me those lentils." Jacob replied, "Look, I can give you. You're the firstborn. Do you really want to be the firstborn? Do you want to be the person who follows God's path?" The Torah explicitly says that Esau despised the birthright and said, "I don't want that. I have no interest. I'll trade you this merit of being the firstborn, the merit of being Isaac's continuation, and let it be you, but give me that plate of lentils." And that's what happened. So he sold the birthright, the right he had to serve God as the grandson of Abraham, the son of Isaac. The third one, that had to be from the patriarchs, he sells, but not only does he sell it disparagingly. And what happens? So here now, Jacob bought the birthright. In light of this, we can understand the episode of Isaac's blessing for his son. Isaac wanted to bless his firstborn with a continuation of the people chosen by God, which began, as we said, with Abraham, then Isaac, and now there will be the third leg that forms the people of Israel. But he didn't know everything. However, his wife Rebekah knew that one son is good, the other is not. And now comes Jacob and says, "Mother, my brother sold me the birthright." At that moment, Rebekah was sure of what she had to do. She put on a special garment, very special. And so Jacob, he looks like his brother Esau, and the father doesn't notice because he's blind. But what garment did he wear? Why did he keep this special garment at his mother's house, and not with his wives? This was a stolen garment. It is written that it was a garment that belonged to Adam, and from Adam it passed until it reached King Nimrod, that same king who took Abraham to the furnace, the king who said, "I am a god, pray to me." He himself claimed to be a god. Esau got this stolen garment from Nimrod, and he didn't even trust his wives. He kept it with his mother. So this garment Rebekah gave to her son Jacob at the time of the blessings. When Esau realized what blessing he lost, what foolishness he did, he repented. But at that moment, the father himself speaks. "My son, the one I blessed, that is the one blessed by God. Now I understand that I was wrong. You deceived me all my life. So you will have now another mission in this life." The question we have is, Esau, did he really not have free will? He couldn't be a good person? One of the greatest Jewish sages explains to us that in fact Rebekah and Isaac had to be realistic, that they are twins, but very different not only in appearance, but in personality. When they realize that Jacob loves to study, he's there in the study tent. Esau, he likes to hunt. He likes the field. They had to understand that they have to educate two sons differently. They didn't do that. So Esau, he received the same education that would be good for Jacob, but not for him. This leads him to be very against. He had the free will to be a man of the field, a hunter, more righteous. He decides in the end to use his strengths for evil, and that's why we're still going to learn that his descendants will be very problematic and will have many influences to the present world. If you want me to continue, I can make a part 2. Just comment like this, "Do part 2, then I will." Don't forget to subscribe to the channel until the next video.